From trending during the 2021 general election for recording 0 votes in several polling stations across the country, to trending in 2025 over public grief following the death of former President Edgar Chagwa, Sean Tembo has once again found himself at the center of national attention. This time, the outspoken leader of Patriots for Economic Progress is making headlines after alleging that his political party had mysteriously been turned into a church by the Registrar of Societies. The revelation surfaced on the 22nd of May 2026, triggering public debate, political speculation, and widespread reactions on social media after records allegedly showed that PEP categorized under preaching and ministry activities instead of a political party. But as accusations mount against the Registrar of Societies, government has moved to clear its name. Ministry of Home Affairs and Internal Security Permanent Secretary Dickson Matembo has dismissed the allegations, insisting that at no point did the Registrar of Societies illegally alter or manipulate records belonging to PEP. Speaking to the press in Lusaka, Mr. Matembo has explained that the confusion stemmed from efforts by Mr. Tembo to urgently change office bearers ahead of the 2026 general election presidential nomination process. According to the ministry, on the 20th of May 2026, Mr. Tembo approached the office of the acting registrar of societies, seeking immediate amendment to party leadership records after nomination papers signed by Esther Lungu were rejected by the Electoral Commission of Zambia because she did not appear in official records as Secretary General of the party. Government says Tembo attempted to have Ms. Lungu recognized as the Secretary General through letters submitted to the Registrar of Societies, but officials advised him that the process requires compliance with provisions of the Societies Act, including submissions of prescribed forms, fingerprints, certified NRC copies, and minutes of appointment meetings.
John Handavu was consistently appearing as the General Secretary of the party, and the records would be maintained as such. However, he still insisted that the changes should be made in favor of Mr. Adam Onjovu. Thereafter, he left the office. On 21st May, in the morning, the Office of the Acting Chief Registrar notified the Electoral Commission of Zambia through a fresh printout that confirmed Mr. John Handavu as the legitimate General Secretary of the party, to enable the signing and the filing in of nomination papers for the party.
And on claims that PEP had been converted into a church, government clarifies that the party has always existed in the registrar system as a political party, explaining that the preaching and ministry label merely originated from activity options selected from a drop-down menu during registration and did not affect the party's legal classification.
There were no unauthorized changes on or to the party records held at the Registrar of Society. Further, the change that is being attributed to have been done by Prince Care in 2023 on case number 86675 at an internet cafe was never processed. It ended at application level because the applicant was neither an office bearer as required by the Societies Act nor an authorized representative of the party. It is worth noting that records at the Register of Societies have always maintained PEP as a political party on type of society, although the applicants on the registration of the party could have indicated the main activity as preaching and ministry as picked from the drop-down menu of the system.
Mr. Matembo has also clarified that it is illegal for the Registrar of Society to alter any records of any political party or organization without the organization's approval. He has since maintained that all official records remain intact and available for public scrutiny as government attempts to contain a controversy that has evolved into one of Zambia's most bizarre political disputes ahead of the 2026 general election. For Crown TV News, Anna Mwila in Lusaka.
Good evening and welcome to Spotlight. Tonight, we are looking at the rules that govern our democracy, rules that dictate who gets power, how they get there, and what happens when they decide to walk away.
Indeed, for years, the Zambian political landscape was held hostage by a loophole. A candidate could pull out at the 11th hour, force a total cancellation of an election, draining the national treasury of millions of kwacha and leave voters stranded. But now, and looking at it the way it was a democracy by disruption.
But the law has changed. The newly enacted 2026 constitutional amendments have completely rewritten the rules of the game. Under the old 2016 framework, a resignation meant hitting the panic button and resetting the entire election. But today, in 2026, if you walk away, the train pretty much leaves you behind. The election moves forward and your name is scrubbed from the race.
This brings us to a massive burning question. What is your take on nominated members of parliament withdrawing? Is this new law a shield against political sabotage, or does it strip away democratic fairness? Joining us to dissect the legal, financial and moral implication of this shift is our resident political analyst, that's Sir George Chomba. Mr. Chomba, good evening and welcome to Spotlight.
Good evening.
Indeed. Yes, and of course, we started this show with a news piece concerning the Patriots for Economic Progress. The Home Affairs Ministry has responded and says that there were actually no changes made to the Patriots for Economic Progress at the Registrar of Society's office. And now in the system, we get to wonder where this story then, emanated from, but also why we are where we are today. And after they say that, the Patriots for Economic Progress, I don't know what to call him now, president, because he's got a presidential, the president,
Yes.
Sean Tembo, posted something on his social media, and he has not responded directly to what has gone on, but he posted something which we are going to be seeing in a short while just to understand what he means. But Mr. Chomba, based on the revelations by the Home Affairs Ministry with regards to what has happened, I'm very sure an extensive audit of what occurred between the dates that have been mentioned in this story had to be undertaken. And today we've been given the results. But where are we getting this noise from?
I think the problem that we have is political players themselves not understanding the rules of the game. When the story, which was a breaking news, that PEP, that is the presidential candidate and also the running mate, have been barred because of changes at the registrar, I did say the next option that Mr. Sean Tembo has is to actually wait for the window period of a petitioning, which means all these things could have been fought by him going to court with the presidential candidate, petitioning the constitutional court or the court, so to say. And as we are speaking, maybe these things, whatever they are complaining about, it could have been back on or it could have been placed on the ballot paper as all these things are being sorted out. But the problem, which according to the permanent secretary, which I find, it was something to do with the secretary general of the party, because he wanted, I don't know who this Esther Lungu is, to sign the adoption documents, and another person who has been there for a long time. But we should use all avenues of trying to be on the ballot paper. I have seen his day, or maybe some candidates. I think the window period has expired, maybe today, or maybe it's tomorrow. But that is the option that he could have used in terms of going on the ballot paper.
When we look at what Mr. Tembo, has been complaining about during this process, and then we look at the response that has been given. Alfred had a question earlier on the show, rather before we started the show. He was asking, what then happens at this point?
If the window period has lapsed, then you are not going to be there.
The 7 days.
The 7 days. But if, excuse me, if you petition the courts citing Electoral Commission of Zambia or maybe the Registrar of Societies, you are able to verify the documentation, whether they were indeed changed or somebody was just playing a trick. Because what I saw at Mlungushi was Mr. Sean Tembo and the presidential candidate not in the nomination center, but he was simply explaining there is minor details that we are trying to sort out and all those things. But he could have had two, is it killing killing two birds with one stone?
Yeah.
While he was trying to file nomination, he could have also taken the legal way of petitioning the courts of law.
Alfred, when we look at the facts of the PEP record dispute, there's so much that is being said, but then I'll start this conversation off, Mr. Chomba. What exactly has been mentioned? The rejected application.
Yeah.
The application to change PEP records in 2023 never actually went through. It had only reached the submission stage because it was flagged. But how does then the presidential candidate and his running mate issue a statement? They issued a statement that our names have been changed in the ECs, in the office of the registrars, in the database.
Yeah.
They've changed the office bearers. They've changed the classification or designation of the organization to a church. Why did they issue such a statement, if at all, when you search, the details were as they were in September last year?
It's a puzzle, and it only points to one thing. Do political parties, what happens if they don't submit annual returns? Because if somebody attempted to change the office bearers in 2023, why should it come to 2026? I have addressed the issue of the Registrar of Societies because why allow clubs, political parties, and all those who fall under the Societies Act to they can only go there when there are elections. For example, when the Electoral Commission of Zambia had meetings with party presidents, there was discussion, and I did say this here. I said the Electoral Commission of Zambia should not enter into the game of the Registrar of Societies because they will be blamed at a certain point. And I expected all political parties to go and have a meeting with the Registrar of Societies so that before nomination, all these details, all the things that we are hearing now could have been avoided or they could have been sorted out. But we are where we are, and it's a pity if what the permanent secretary is saying is the correct picture, and what Mr. Sean Tembo is saying is not the correct picture. Still, there is one fundamental thing that we can conclude in terms of one Zambian who participated in the elections in 2021 has lost a chance of actually going on the ballot. We can't talk about the zeros and all those things. The only thing is we should allow those who would like to stand because PEP paid 100,000. So if there is any other way that you can challenge the rejection of the nomination papers on that account of certain documents being changed, I think he should proceed. He has won cases in court, Mr. Sean Tembo, that is, and not all cases you can win them. But for me, I know him personally. I would love him to be on the ballot paper.
Don't you think people, or maybe some people, would question or maybe wonder to say, obviously the response that we've gotten today from ECZ is because Sean Tembo wrote to Donald Trump.
Yeah,
the response from the registrar.
yes, I think issues like this, the government should be proactive in terms of addressing them, because this thing happened last week, and to answer after a week, after 7 days, what I know is the Registrar of Societies and the Minister of Home Affairs, if they are still at the office, that is the Registrar of Societies, it's not very far. It's a walkable distance. In fact, so why would they delay so much in terms of responding to allegations of having tampered with documentation at the Registrar of Societies? When you start delaying information which you are supposed to give to the people, it gives rise to speculation, lies, hearsay, and with social media, it's very quick that some people would go on the internet and simply say, oh, they changed our documentation, but they didn't want us to be on the ballot paper, which is not good for information. Because sometimes we don't live in a closed society. Only yesterday we are talking about the internet and all those things. Some people might not see what the permanent secretary has said. Others would believe the story of, oh, this person, even Donald Trump may believe. Just like the story of, you remember when he was talking to Ramaphosa about white farmers being evicted in South Africa and all those things. He was talking from a point of strength in terms of, I've got the videos, I've got the pictures and all those things. And even last night, there were stories that you would like to accommodate white South Africans and all those things. So with the digital space being opened up, in terms of answering back to some of the allegations.
When you talk about answering back, let's look at what PEP President Sean Tembo had posted on his social media earlier on when we received information, or when information was shared by the Home Affairs Ministry, and let's see what he posted, on his social media. I would want Mr. Chomba, maybe you can give us analysis of what this post actually means. He later on went on to wish, because earlier he had said he had written to the office of the American president to look into this issue, and that he may call his counterpart here to ensure that this issue is looked at. But then today he posts, Director, if you can show us what was on his social media. He says,
okay, so that's on his official Facebook page.
Sean Tembo Temba yo.
Well, maybe he has something else to say. It's his democratic right to seek redress about if he feels he has been treated unfairly. And Temba, you have to translate that one to Donald Trump.
But anyways, later on, he wishes Donald Trump. He was praying for Donald Trump.
Yeah, so he says, wishing the president of the United States of America, His Excellency Mr. Donald J. Trump, in fact, tagging him, a very warm and blessed evening. May the favor of the Lord be upon you, sir, and may you continue to care for every citizen of the world. Okay, with the praying hands there. And actually, this post, he had to screenshot it and post it on his WhatsApp status. So it's in there. So I think the message really carries a lot of weight for him.
We never know. Presidents sometimes respond, or they will use third parties in terms of responding. Maybe the president of America has responded to him and is happy about the response. But the bottom line is that those who qualify to stand, and Mr. Sean Tembo did qualify in 2021. We don't know about Mr. Katotowe because it was the first time that he was trying to file his nomination papers. But no one in Zambia should be disadvantaged or having his papers rejected if they are in order and they meet all the qualifications that are supposed to be submitted.
Just to wind up on this topic before we get to the Electoral Commission of Zambia's statement earlier on a few hours ago, let's look at a wholesome, look at this Sean Tembo PEP situation. Big Director would help us with a display there. So this is what happened. The Ministry of Home Affairs and Internal Security, Permanent Secretary Dickson Matembo, has cleared the air, calling allegations completely misleading. And this is what the government has disclosed. Number one, that the application to change PEP records in 2023 never actually went through. It only reached a submission stage because it was flagged, the unauthorized actor. So the individual trying to make the changes, identified as Prince Care, was found to be neither an office bearer nor an authorized representative under the Societies Act. The drop-down menu confusion. So the PS has clarified that any system confusion likely came from a registration drop-down menu that lists various categories, including preaching and ministry. PEP remains strictly classified as a political party, but the drop-down menu does show several other things, as I've mentioned. The official records submitted to the Electoral Commission of Zambia on April 15th, 2026, perfectly match the authorized records from September 7th, 2022. No changes to office bearers were ever made. That is what the summary of the conversation we've had, Mr. Chomba, is about. But if we bring you in on this, when a political party leader publicizes allegations, Mr. Chomba, of record tampering, only for the state to reveal, that an unauthorized individual tried to hijack the portal, what does this say about the digital security of political parties and the relationship between the opposition leaders and the registrar?
It doesn't speak well about how we hold information, because anybody can change the information which is on the portal. We hope the Minister of Home Affairs is in charge of internal security. So we hope they will relook at the documentation. But again, it doesn't give, if what the Permanent Secretary is saying is true, it doesn't give the president, that is the president of PEP, political party, credibility. It removes certain. But we have to wait. We never know what happens tomorrow. It might be another story in terms of Mr. Sean Tembo coming on board. Like I have said, the bottom line is, if he's qualified, he's allowed. But every time the Zambian people, when they were submitting to the constitutional review in 2016, they gave the 7 days in which you can actually petition, so that when you are sorting out all these problems, you are able to get back on get on the ballot paper if you have been treated unfairly. This is what I said even on Mr. Charles Chanda, the UPPZ president. When the Electoral Commission of Zambia said you are discharged, bankrupt, I said, if he goes to court and is able to prove that whatever allegations have been made are false, he can still go back on the ballot paper. But as long as you don't do that, then people are going to think you are trying to play to the gallery.
Let's shift focus, Alfred. The Electoral Commission of Zambia has responded to a statement that was shared on one of the Patriotic Front pages, alleging that the Electoral Commission of Zambia was intending to block or to ban Honorable Makebi Zulu, as well as his president, president of the Tonse Pamosi Alliance, Honorable Brian Mundubile. They say that is false, and they've called on, media platforms, they've called on several players in this election to exercise, restraint from spreading falsehood. So we're going to read this statement, and then we can, get into that, Mr. Chomba. So let's get to see what that statement, Director, is saying, so that we can, understand exactly the wording by the Commission.
So the statement reads that ECZ dismisses false and malicious claims published on the Facebook page Patriotic Front. The Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ, strongly condemns the false, reckless and deliberately misleading allegations circulating on the Patriotic Front Facebook page, claiming that the Commission or its chairperson, Mrs. Mwangala Zalumis, SC, is plotting to ban, sanction or disqualify presidential candidate Brian Mundubile and his running mate Makebi Zulu. These allegations are complete fabrications and should be treated with contempt they deserve. The Commission wishes to remind the public that the chairperson of the ECZ, acting as a returning officer for presidential election, officially declared Mr. Brian Mundubile and Mr. Makebi Zulu as duly nominated presidential candidates and running mate, respectively, in accordance with the Constitution and the electoral laws of Zambia in the just ended nomination process. It is therefore dishonest and irresponsible for anyone to manufacture stories suggesting that the same commission is secretly seeking grounds to reverse the lawful process. At no point has the chairperson directed any action or sanction against the said candidates as falsely alleged, and the claims attributed to the chairperson regarding. So it reads on. Let's see the last part of. Okay, so yes, the church services, funeral gatherings, and the supposed campaign violations are entirely fictitious and have never been issued by ECZ. The Commission is deeply concerned by the growing tendency by certain political actors to abuse social media platforms to spread outright lies aimed at misleading the public, undermining confidence in the electoral process, and dragging independent constitutional institutions into partisan propaganda. This is it will not allow its name, integrity, and constitutional mandate to be abused by the individuals seeking political mileage through falsehood and manufactured controversy. Members of the public aid to ignore the fake claims and rely only on official statements issued through verified ECZ communications platforms. It is signed by Brand Kasari, Chief Electoral Officer for the Electoral Commission of Zambia.
I'm right there, Mr. Chomba. There was a statement on the Patriotic Front page, which the Electoral Commission of Zambia then has had to respond to. What do you make of the allegations, but more so the response that has come from the Commission?
Again, this is what I talked about in terms of understanding the electoral process and the nomination period. If we just take care of a few things in terms of reading what normally happens, we would understand. I was talking about 7-day period in which a person can petition a candidate who has been successfully nominated to actually stand. I've been involved in reporting on elections, and once the Electoral Commission of Zambia has actually declared somebody as validly nominated, they can only wait for somebody else to actually petition that is going to court and say, oh, this wasn't. For example, yesterday we were talking about FDD, where somebody has gone to court. But these reports, scarecrow reports, aimed at just inciting the public. Bamuyopa, bafuno muchta, vaso, and all those things. We can't determine. But there are people out there who they think any of the candidates, we have got 14.
Yeah.
And if you want to prop up one of them, you can use propaganda. You simply say, George is about to be disqualified, and then certain people, certain voters are going to sympathize with you, even if we don't know how people are going to vote. But what we need to have is, I don't know why the Patriotic Front, if the party is still there contesting, they would get worried about a candidate who is not part and parcel, like Brian Mundubile. The Patriotic Front should concentrate on their members if they have got that information. But being in the media for a long time, we know what is happening and all those things. But we have a responsibility to deliver correct information in terms of, as we go ahead, what is it that the people would like to hear and would like to read.
Before we get to the independents that are withdrawing from the election, let's have a listen to some of the calls that you are making. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, thank you. What is your name and where are you calling us from?
Hello.
Hello, what is your name and where are you calling us from?
My name is Christine, calling from Chongwe.
Christine, thank you for calling in from Chongwe. Please go ahead.
Okay.
All right, that line dropped. Please do try calling back, Christine.
Good evening, my brother.
Good evening, thank you, Mr. Moses. How are you?
Very well. I want to and my dear brother, the other side. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, thank you so much. I like the response from the it is a quick one. And it's how it should be. When there's something wrong, you respond very quickly and say that is false. Like the South Society, been debating on things like they are bringing us into unnecessary debate. So what you might need your clarifications are on the 7 days. So you are telling us that the 7 days, this was the constitution which was signed in 2016. If I got you correctly, then with these 7 days, if I have an issue with one of the candidates, is it final that that issue is going to stand against that candidate, or maybe it has to be scrutinized, and then finally, if my issue is not valid, can that candidate still go ahead and stand as a presidential candidate? I need your clarification on that one.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Moses. Mr. Chomba will respond to that issue just in a few minutes. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. Hello. All right, please do try calling back. Hello.
Hello, Mwajo Bwanji.
Bwina muli bwanji.
Achoma. Kumpeta uke kuno.
All right, kamba na bandani peta uke.
Mkamba na wanoa Zulu.
Mr. Zulu zikomo. Please go ahead, kambani pon.
Nufura ati tandize kwa Chomba. Chupata daba kuti maskipa ba Edgar Lungu vereti. Wamba kupipasa wanu ndiye kuti palipu kyani pamine hapa. Tuziwa lini bino because tambo sokonezeka kuti ndiye kuti wa PF from ambucha supply kumone kuti ya chita withdraw olochiri kyani pamine hapa. Tuziwa bino. Chifwale kweze kumwaka ni mbwe aliyensi wa bwala ni PF na wana zuimba mkomboni. So tuziwa pali kyani. Ziko ngwambi.
Tami kila Mr. Zulu. Hello, good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Very fine, thank you. You're through to Spotlight. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
This is Martin. I'm calling you from airport here.
We're grateful for that call, Martin. Please go ahead.
Thank you. First of all, let me appreciate this program.
All right.
You are doing a great job. Mr. Chomba.
Yes, sir.
Shani wagaram.
Ubwe nobody shani mkwai.
How are you feeling? Ba Chomba na alishadira koini.
Mkwai.
Upo na shadira ni hapa ba Chomba. I think program ile tuafa. Question and inquiry. Pali program achira verenge ama your copy of Makuisi's it. Yeah, others they are using social media to what ukurufya abantu. Mushefundeta kwawera kwebati abantu abalechitefyo. Baba ikanda fati abeka bati abantu basambirirapo. Because believe me, you fela kwebati limbi twikala limbi ni mumpanga abekala mumpanga. Wena nga baberenga fye nishi chapo basenda. Takwa befunde ila kwebati nga babekata. Abapera punishment kwa chita. Because kale fyambo kula chitike fya so ifi. Bampora fikonka mbita fikonka. Mama nene. So epo na pera pene wa Chomba.
Tasha wa Martin. We pick one more call, Alfred, and then
Good evening. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
Your name and where you're calling us from?
Honorable member for Garden.
Congratulations.
Sure, Baba.
Yes, Mr. Chilesh, in Garden. Your question contribution.
Pep. Since now that the Home Affairs has clarified, is Pep going to be on the ballot? I think that's what we are interested to hear. And the question that I need to pose is, where did the ECZ got the information of saying your political party now is a change? Does it mean Sean Tembo is in more money from the ECZ because now he's going to sue the ECZ? Or what happened? Why didn't the ECZ detected to say, it only ended on what? On the registration. But that person who wanted to register has not been given the certificate. I think that's what we are more interested. And if PEP is going to be adopted,
all right, let's see if Mr. Chomba can answer some of these questions, and then we get to where we are going. Mr. Chomba, there's quite a number. I hope you've been keeping track, but we can start from the last question on the Electoral Commission of Zambia potentially allowing the Patriots for Economic Progress to file in their nominations. What I do remember happened on the day was the Patriots for Economic Progress, together with their presidential candidate and running mate, went to the Presidential Nomination Center at Mlungushi International Conference Center to try and file. Then they issued a statement, the Patriots for Economic Progress issued a statement to say that they had information that their documents had been tampered with at the Registrar of Societies, and they left. The next thing we saw was them posting on their wall to say their organization was redesignated to church, and they held a press briefing. The Electoral Commission of Zambia had mentioned that they were expecting PEP to come back, but PEP was not among the political parties that went back to the nomination center. So I would want to hear if ever there's any information I'm leaving out, but that is as far as my memory can record, unless Alfred you have different information.
Not really, but I think I just want to get Mr. Chomba's response on the regalia that is being spread. I think that one is something that I'm looking forward to, because yes, when you go to Eastern Route, places like my village in Fera, Luangwa, you still find, I think, vitenge, vachpani, vikaniko, like new ones. So now I think it's more confusing because the Patriot Front, we know for sure they're not on the ballot, but the materials are being distributed.
First of all, I can't speak on behalf of the Electoral Commission of Zambia.
Yes.
This information, just like you, we were hearing these things from PEP.
Yes.
They are the ones who went there, they held the press briefing and all those things. The Electoral Commission of Zambia, as my memory I don't think they have ever issued a statement on the same. Maybe they can do it tomorrow or the other day. But what I know according to the law, and this is, I'll repeat myself. I said, if you have a problem, just like Mr. Charles Chanda, Mr. Sean Tembo, and Chanda Katotobwe,
Yes.
they could have gone the route of the court in terms of within 7 days. They petition the courts and say somebody tampered with our documents at the Registrar of Societies. We have the right to contest the election. The story now could have been different in terms of if these things have been sorted out and they had a Secretary General who could have signed the documents, who could have said, oh, they are being taken back to the ballot paper. So I wouldn't know which version to agree with at this particular moment, whether it's the PS or Sean Tembo.
But the window is still open because the 7 days,
7 days is not
elapsed.
elapses.
If they are following the Friday nomination as close of nomination on a Friday, which means Mr. Sean Tembo, yes, can go to court, but I don't know what the ruling would be. That's where I can't confidently say you'll be placed back on the on the ballot, because there is also, according to the Electoral Process Act now amended, you need the party president to sign and also the Secretary General to sign. And we are hearing two names. Esther Lungu. I don't know who this Esther Lungu. Mr. Sean Tembo wanted to be on the to be Secretary General, and the other person. So I don't know what could have transpired.
But also, Mr. Chomba, as you answered this, you can also do well to marry the other question. That was that was asked, I think, by Moses, to say, if a candidate of mine is petitioned within these 7 days,
yes,
what does that mean? I do remember you talking about the 21 days.
Yes. What happens is, if within 7 days a candidate has been petitioned, the courts have the right to hear the matter.
Okay.
And if the courts have to hear the matter, then they have to complete the hearing and determination of the matter
within
at least the 30 days before the general election. In 30 days, you are able to print ballot papers and all the other things. Coming to now the question of party regalia.
Yes.
I did, it's a responsibility of the Electoral Commission of Zambia to ensure that the elections are conducted in a credible manner. I can only take it, if you remember, in 2021, there were independents who were wearing PF regalia in terms of campaigning. And I'll always give an example of JJ Banda, Emmanuel JJ Banda, and others. And the PF did complain to the Electoral Commission of Zambia, and the statement was issued. If you are an independent, use your materials.
Yes.
Don't use another person's material. Now, coming to the PF again wearing Edgar Lungu, it will only confuse their members, because when you go and look at the ballot paper, you won't find the PF. They are using other purpose, special purpose vehicles, which means if, for example, I start campaigning, vote for me, I am Edgar Lungu, may his soul rest in peace. Then they go and see, George Chomba, ni lifu ni what, you are just disadvantaging yourself. The advice we can offer, although advice is just an opinion which you can disagree with, we can only tell them, can you campaign according to the symbol that you have supplied? It will do your members
some good.
But
also, Mr. Chomba, some of the players in these election stakeholders have even had to issue statements to their graphic designers to say, please make sure that only this particular symbol, only this color, only these faces are appearing on all the graphics that you print, because the Electoral Commission of Zambia, under the new law, has been as mentioned, that they're going to be more strict, just so that there's some sanity in how these elections are conducted. So to have to see a party regalia of a political party that is not even participating in an election is something that is supposed to be worrying for all players, because you don't know, like you're saying, Mr. Chomba, how your voter is going to act upon seeing those, seeing that regalia and not finding any of that in the booth when they go to vote.
Yeah, these arguments were raised. You remember when PF were talking about being in an alliance. They were talking about human rights. You need to, as an alliance, you can participate in this election. That's why we are offering this advice in terms of you are going to disadvantage yourselves. There are people who might not read that you are using a special purpose vehicle. But, well, it's a freedom of association.
The last question as we get to look at our last topic, the social media. Martin from Airport was asking.
Yesterday we had the topic of cyber laws.
Yes.
And that falls under cyber crimes.
Yes.
You generate false stories about somebody because you want people to turn against that person. Only today there was a ruling. One of the candidates has been ordered to pay 20,000. I think we should be careful, but we can't all be correct in terms of how we want to express ourselves on social media. But for the media, we have to be careful what we carry. Because if people are able to identify you and identify where you stay and identify the computer, the security agencies, I'm not trying to alarm anybody. They can come and grab the phone and the computer, and you be the one talking about, hey, they are infringing on our rights and all those things. But some people have been sentenced. For example, Francis Kapwepo is serving a 1-year sentence because of using the internet to lie about certain people, to defame, also injure their reputation.
So, George, let's quickly look at now the withdrawing, or maybe the withdrawals that we've seen from nominated members of Parliament. In a nutshell, what is your take on nominated MPs withdrawing? Should we see people celebrating already?
No, don't celebrate. First of all, and this is where the people, I've seen stories on social media. The Electoral Commission of Zambia hasn't yet issued a statement to indicate who has withdrawn. And they cannot do that if there is no confirmation of a letter in terms of Alfred was expected to stand in this seat and then he has withdrawn. Even as the media, I haven't received any letter of any member of parliament withdrawing. It will be very difficult for me to go on the platform and even here speak about this one has withdrawn. And then the verification part of our work, if you name one person as having won just because you have seen one person indicate that they have withdrawn. First of all, go back and look at how many people are standing. Because if, for example, I've seen documentation where there are 3-4 independents and one from a political party. When you say only one person has withdrawn, then this person is unopposed and he has won the seat. What would happen is that the other 3, if they are independents, they can come for your media house and actually sue you because you'll be de-campaigning them or campaigning against their aspiration to stand in that election. So for me, I'll be very careful as a media editor to be very quick to write the story when I don't know how many candidates are standing and there is no confirmation. And when I talk about the Electoral Commission of Zambia, which people should understand, there is somebody who received the documentation at nomination stage. You can go to that person and ask, has this person withdrawn? Or maybe in Nkani Amkachasu.
We get to look at this in a broken down, manner, and this is now to help you as our audience to visualize this massive shift. The scenario in 2016, the amended constitution was saying this with regards when a candidate resigns. I would talk of what it was saying in 2016. Alfred would talk of what it's saying now, just so that there is, more context. So in 2016, the amended constitution in 2016 was saying when a candidate resigns, the elections are cancelled and fresh nominations are called for all 30-day. There'll be a 30-day delay in the election.
And when you look at the 2026 enacted constitution, the election proceeds on the prescribed date and the candidate is barred. All right.
In the 2016 amended constitution, when a court disqualifies a candidate, the election is cancelled, fresh nominations are called for all, and there's a 30-day, delay.
And in the 2026 enacted constitution, when the court disqualifies a candidate, elections proceeds on the prescribed date and the candidate is again barred.
In the 2016 amended constitution, if a candidate dies, the election is cancelled, fresh nominations are called for all.
And in the 2026 enacted constitution, election cancelled only if party sponsored and only that party files a fresh name.
Right. That is what we understand, Mr. Chomba. Now, does this new law favor the popular candidates who no longer have to worry about, opposition tactical withdrawals?
The advantage with the new law is if a person coming from a political party dies and God forbid, then it's only that political party which will be allowed to supply a candidate to file fresh nomination. In the past, what used to happen, even those who never wanted to stand, they would come on board and actually apply. And it also made those people who had already paid to pay again. If another person withdraws, you pay again. But the only consolation at that particular moment in 2016 was a person who was withdrawn was not allowed to actually apply.
All right. Interesting submissions, Alfred.
Indeed. And Sir George, maybe let's look at the consequences of withdrawing. Beyond the political suicide of abandoning your base, what does the 2026 law actually say about the candidate's future?
The candidate who was withdrawn is never going to go back on the ballot paper. Now, the only thing, the constitution is very silent. People have just filed in their nominations, declared, you can stand. The ballot papers haven't been printed yet, which means they are not causing any by-election. But this is where we need clarity in terms of the lawmakers. What we know is if you cause a by-election, you are not going to stand in that cycle that is 5 years. What about now when you are just withdrawing and telling people I'm not standing? So we need to make our laws very clear in terms of, we hope people can go, legal minds can interpret. Not legal minds who are outside, but it's always the courts who make interpretation in what would happen. But I believe if the ballot papers haven't been printed, it's fine. Somebody is declared unopposed, then they will sit in parliament.
You've been watching the Spotlight, and we've been looking at a number of issues this evening. And just so we, are on the same page, as Mr. Chomba has mentioned, there are several statements online that are being shared that that candidates, especially those opposing the ruling party, have withdrawn. You cannot, ascertain that withdrawal unless the Electoral Commission of Zambia issues a letter to the candidate saying that they have been declared winner by virtue of going unopposed. If that has not been shared, then that candidate is still in competition with someone. So we have to be very careful, or you have to be very careful how you treat the information that you are receiving, in as much as there's hope in your camp that you're expecting your candidates to go through unopposed. There are also several other candidates or other constituencies where even the ruling party has had challenges, in the sense that some areas have not seen them file candidates. So this has to go with verified information, and we as Crown Television will bring you that verified information immediately when the Electoral Commission of Zambia confirms that this is the status quo. So be very careful the information that you consume, and also the information that you share with others, because you do not want to find yourself also on the wrong side of the law. Okay.
You know the culture of Ninamvela. Because you see, some candidates may actually indicate I've withdrawn, but they don't write a letter in terms of confirming that they have withdrawn. That makes the Electoral Commission, puts the Electoral Commission in an awkward position, because I don't think they are always on the internet trying to find out who has withdrawn and all those things. They would only rely on documentation which they receive. That's why, as media, what would happen is, that's why I've indicated, if somebody in Lusaka Central has withdrawn, it's better I go to the returning officer and ask if it's at the council, has this person withdrawn? You are shown the letter, because we know that that person is going to submit that letter to the head office. But if you just go and start writing the stories, it becomes a little bit dicey, and you may actually campaign against a candidate.
Indeed, on that note, we've come to the end of today's episode of the Spotlight. My name is Alfred Chimba, as well as Seidlitz Nkhonjera, Mr. Sir George Chomba. We are back tomorrow. Obviously, tomorrow we're back.
Tomorrow we have a special edition.
Yes.
We're going to be featuring an aspiring member of parliament for Chasefu South constituency, Honorable Nyambose. So do look forward to that conversation tomorrow at 20 hours right here on Crown Television.
Indeed. Have a good night and keep watching Crown TV.